Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, the sun. My name is Johnny B. And today we're just going to go over a couple little things just so we can move forward. Okay. One of the things you need to know is the term white supremacy. And the other thing you need to understand is the term white privilege. They're two different things, and they're created by two different factions. Both Marxist in their own terminology, but both different. White supremacy was created by black intersectionals. Okay. Intersectionality itself was created by this lady here, Kimberly Crenshaw. She's more than just a civil rights advocate. She's a far left Marxist and who believes in oppressionism, who believes in victimhood mentality. And she believed in creating a one-up system called intersectionality, meaning it's one thing to be an oppressed black man, but boy, it's another thing to be a black woman. Okay. What she didn't realize that she was creating with her intersectional movement was a score, a weighing system. Okay? She didn't understand she was going to create that. And the reason that this was being created was now there was a fight within all these intersectionals who was going to be the most oppressed. Those who were the most oppressed would win. So you see it if you look at today's society, who tend to be the most oppressed and who tend to have who garner the most support. The people that tend to get the most support are the Jews. Okay, when there was a shooting in Philadelphia and a shooting in California, you saw the the support that America gave them. You know, these poor Jews are being attacked because these people are anti-Semitic. Okay, and we'll go over all of that stuff at another time. But anyway, what they have done is they have almost like a lock and key system that they're the most oppressed. They win the intersectional war. They're able to get reparations, which everybody else wants, and no one else is able to get it. Okay? So these other factions start to attack Israel and they try to attack or find ways to bring down these Jews a point. There are two groups in particular that are really going after that. The LGBTQ community, led pretty much by the feminist lesbians, and therefore the social justice warrior feminists, the lesbians, is the next group. So you got the feminists and the LGBTQ. Okay. And you will see that you will have a lot that are both. Some of them are all three. They're Jews, lesbian, and feminists. Okay, they fit hand in hand, um, hand in hand. Okay, they're all Marxists. All right. The problem what was happening was these lesbians, these feminists, were kicking out the black male. They were kicking them out, saying, thank you for everything you've done for us, but you're no longer wanted." Well, these Marxist men were not happy with that. They improperly hung on or cling. What's clung? How do you say past tense of cling? Clung. They hung on. They hung on to the people who were like real civil rights leaders. Okay, and and what has happened is they're sitting there going, "Wait, you just can't kick us out. We were the people that had to fight every everything. Okay, we had to fight for slavery. We had to fight Jim Crow. We had to fight and helping women vote. We had to fight and helping uh, having black people gain equality. We marched through the streets, everything. Okay, we got beaten and battered and killed in Mississippi and Alabama. I mean, you're throwing us out. Okay, so what they did was, remember, it's the faction of intersectionals. These black men, not all black men, but the ones who believe in reparations. These guys, they said, you know what? Our one intersectional point of being a black male, just one, is more powerful than all of yours put together. We have been slaves for over 400 years, and it's all due to white supremacy. Another thing that they did was they actually created the rules, what white supremacy was, and how all black men were affected. Didn't matter their income or anything like that. You know, LeBron James and Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan and P. Diddy and all these people, they were oppressed too, just because they were black. Income had nothing to do with it now, because they made the rules. That should have been the first clue that all of this was something was wrong, something was offset. That they created the rules for what was considered oppressionism. So these people are going after the reparations. That's the total prize. Because reparations means now they're on the top of the heap. They're the top. Okay? They're the top of the oppression war. They win. Okay? So, white supremacy, and they keep pushing this and have all of these Marxists pushing it. You know, the Jews and the black women and the lesbians, everyone's pushing it. They don't understand how powerful this movement is, and it's really done in order to push themselves up on the ladder of intersectionality. Okay? And you hear all of these presidential candidates, yes, we'll give back reparations. No, you don't. But that's what they want to do. Okay. So that right there is white supremacy. White supremacy is created. Now, how do we know it was done that way? When you were younger, you ever heard the term white supremacy? No. You're telling me my family who barely makes $30,000, has hand-me-downs and barely has a 13-year-old car, we're supremacists? Yep. Where we have white privilege? Yep. Huh? Right? We have white privilege? Yep. Okay? So, another way you can tell is that they always try to tell you that you have no right to speak about it. They're creating the rules, and anybody who speaks against them, they get angry about. Okay? All right. Now with white nationalism. White nationalism is different. White nationalism is changing a terminology, just like they did with the term alt-right. They used the term alt-right, hired these far left wing Nazis like Richard Spencer and Chris Cantwell to go out and push white nationalism and say that they voted for and supported Trump. Notice Trump never backed him. Okay, it was done to try to show that these white nationalists support Trump. It was all done as an act. And then they kind of went away. And now that the election is starting to come back again, they're making their face available. Don't you find that odd? That they're now coming back again? So what they did was they stole a term. There was a term created by people like Vox Day and people that originally supported them, like the people at Breitbart. And that included like Milo and Shapiro and Steve Bannon. Okay. They have so disavowed the alt-right. So that's not us at all. Okay. That's because they stole the term. They stole it. And they were trying to associate, as they have done many times before, that these white nationalists or Nazis were actually right-wing. They have succeeded. They have actually succeeded in doing that for many, many, many generations and years. They needed a right wing enemy. There were the Nazis. But something made me think, wait, this is kind of odd. I actually looked up the 25 points of Nazism. And when you actually look at the 25 points of Nazism, you sit there and go, wait, they're socialists. Socialism is left wing. Now let's go over all the things that provide nationalism. Then it hit me. Their nationalism is almost the opposite of what conservative nationalism is. Conservative nationalism is based on three things: God, family, and country. That's it. We believe in God, family, and country. Country, patriotism. Okay? Believe in the flag. They don't believe in the flag. They want the flag torn down. They want the Constitution remade. They don't believe in the country as it is. They don't believe in the term "Make America Great Again." They get very hostile towards President Trump. They're anti-American. But they must be Christian, right? No, they're not. They're atheists. They don't believe in Christianity. They want to see Christianity destroyed. They want to make sure that people who bow down and pray for God get ostracized. People lose their jobs, like a coach loses their job because he knelt down with his team for prayer at a football game. They're trying to outlaw the Bible in California because it talks about how homosexuality is a sin. Okay, they are trying to outlaw Christianity, and there was the rise in the 90s of atheism, and that's a different reason why, and I'll explain that. That's called Sabbatinism. We'll talk about that at another time. So they don't believe in God. They don't believe in country and family values. No, they don't believe in family values. They want people. They're talking about how people don't need to be married. They're talking about how the matriarchal power should be overtaking the patriarchy. Okay, they're talking about, and that's the feminist movement. Again, very Marxist. They're talking about the destruction of human beings, changing the word from a fetus to a group of cells so they can kill human beings. Really, really weird. Homosexuality, transgenderism, indoctrinating children so they become homosexuals and transgender to destroy the family values. You don't see kids sitting around with their parents every day after school. You don't see that anymore. No. God, family, and country they look to destroy, as well as land. All right? Take away privatized land. During the Obama administration, they took away over 546 million acres of land. Okay? And there are many things that are done that were done to try and in place to try to take away even more land. Okay, the Endangered Species Act, which was October 1st case of 2018, was the dusky gopher frog, which is bullshit. It's really nothing about a frog. What it was to try to take away the land so that that land that was right there in New Orleans, which was receiving a train coming from Chicago, from California, and from California to Florida, this high-speed rail system that is actually being built or wanted to be built. They were trying to take away this man's land. Okay, and they tried to use some bullshit act called the Endangered Species Act. Check it out. It's a court case that has now been brought back to the Fourth Circuit, I believe. Is it the fourth? Fifth. I think it's the Fifth Circuit. Fifth Circuit, and because the Supreme Court wouldn't rule on it. Okay, that was the first case in October of 2018, and they ruled that it must go back. And it was called the Dusky Gopher Frog Act. Dusky. Dusky. All right, look that up. You'll be surprised. You'll be shocked. And then, okay, what else did they do? They monumentized lands instead of the thousands. They were stealing millions. Okay, the death tax. Okay. so that you couldn't afford the land after your parents died. They had to sell it off, and they were selling it off to these really, really rich elites and globalists who were stealing the land. So that your family would not be able to pass on that land. That's what they were looking for. Okay, so they don't believe in privatized land. They want to make it kind of look like China. This is what led me to believe that China was very much a part of all of this. When we look at the rise of the Chinese government was about 27 years ago, immediately after the initiation of the New World Order in 1992, September 11th, 1992. Then the Chinese government started to come in and started to swallow up lands, take people's businesses, and take people's name it. So banks, everything. They were able to pretty much monopolize our country. And there's a lot to actually study with China, but China, I think, was the biggest group of communists that were looking to actually overthrow the United States. Okay, they still are. They're still trying to do it. Trump's trying to prevent it. And I'm blowing a brain fart of the word I'm trying to. Intellectual properties, right? Intellectual property theft. That that also was very important. They've been stealing that as well, and they misused the WTO. They've just been liars and thieves for the last 27 years, and this is the first year in the last 27 years that they've lost money. I find that odd. That exact year, which would have been 1992, that would have been the beginning of the New World Order. So I'm sure all of these things tie in. Nothing is ever coincidental. All right. So white nationalism. They're trying to tie nationalists, populists, as being Nazis. That's what the whole purpose of. And they did it with Representative Stephen King, but they couldn't do it with Donald Trump because he went on stage at a rally and said, you know what, I'm not supposed to say I'm a nationalist, but you know what, I'm a nationalist. And the left went nuts. They've been trying to steal that term for years. And now they can't steal it. Well, they're still trying. They're still trying. They're not going to give up. But one thing about the left is the left never gives up. The left never gives up. Okay? All right. So today we went over the difference between white nationalism, and that is a Marxist term. Again, they were using two things there. They're using Saul Alinskyism by attacking, and by changing the definition, deconstruction of a word that is Jacques Derrida, and he was a French Marxist philosopher in the 60s, and he wrote about deconstructionism. So, and in the 60s also was a Jewish atheist. It's really weird. He was a Jew one time, then atheist, then he went back to being a Jew. All really odd, really odd. And his name was Saul Alinsky. Okay, interesting. Okay, so they use those type of tactics, and it's to steal terminology. So that's white nationalism. Control how people think, control what they talk about. And then white privilege or white supremacy, white privilege is used because of this lady here. Black people felt left out in the intersectional wars. And instead of being at the bottom, they want to be at the top. So I hope I educated you guys a little bit. Share, talk about it, research, have fun. Talk soon. Peace.